We're talking about Saucy Santana and Diddy and now Mama Combs. Yes, baby. We're dragging white nails and all into this firestorm of freaky secrets, broken friendships, and betrayals that go way deeper than the surface glam. It all started when Latto, who used to be Santana's twin flame in friendship, suddenly came through with a bombshell so nuclear, it shook timelines and had people clutching their pearls in disbelief. According to her, the reason Saucy Santana has been ghosting Diddy's family isn't business or bookings, it's because he allegedly witnessed something behind those mansion doors so disturbing, so twisted, that he never wanted to step foot near the Combs name again. And that something allegedly involves Diddy's own mama in the middle of a freak-off. That has the whole industry whispering in horror. Now let's back it up and really get into it. Because Saucy and Latto weren't just Instagram mutuals or casual collaborators. They were bonded. They did interviews together, appeared inseparable at events, and even dropped that infamous track Booty that had everybody in the club clapping cheeks and screaming their lyrics like scripture. Their energy was playful, infectious, and full of bestie vibes. They were hype women for each other and moved like to parts of the same coin. So when fans noticed a sudden shift, no more likes, no joint appearances, no inside jokes online, it wasn't just gossip blogs clocking the change. Everyone was asking, what happened to Saucy and Latto? The first real crack in their public connection came during that now infamous performance, when Santana lashed out on Latto's DJ mid-set. He later tried to downplay it, claiming he didn't realize it was prank day on tour, and blamed it on wanting to be taken seriously as a rapper. But fans weren't buying it. The DJ wasn't being messy, and the prank was harmless. But Santana's reaction, that was explosive. And looking back, it feels like that moment wasn't just about a joke gone wrong, it was the pressure cooker finally popping off. It wasn't long after that performance that Santana started saying he didn't want to be seen as a gimmick, a sidekick, or just Young Miami's funny friend. He wanted respect, and while that's valid, the delivery came with shade and fans felt it. Apparently, Latto did too, because soon after, that once tight friendship dissolved into awkward silence. No sub-weeks, no interviews, just that cold air of something gone wrong. But y'all know the silence in Hollywood ain't ever really silent. It's the kind of quiet that's holding back a scream, and baby, Latto just let out that scream. She's now claiming that Santana saw something so off the wall, so disturbing, that he ran for the hills. According to her, it wasn't just Diddy. Being Diddy, it wasn't just another freaky party. It involved Mama Combs, yes, Miss Janice, with the white nails and the Chanel bags. Allegedly, Santana caught her getting freaky with someone, and not just anyone him. That's right. The allegation is that Saucy Santana and Mama Combs were allegedly caught up in something that nobody saw coming. The T says it wasn't a one-night accident or a random scandal. According to Latto, it was a whole asterisk thing asterisk. And get this, it supposedly happened while Diddy was dealing with federal charges, meaning the family was already in crisis mode. And in that crisis, Mama Combs allegedly leaned on Santana a little too closely for comfort. It's the kind of twisted, soapy mess you couldn't script even if you tried. Now, if you think this is too wild to be true, just know this isn't the first time the Combs household has been tied to freaky rumors. People who've been in Diddy's circle have said for years that those parties were never normal. Phones were taken, NDA letters signed, and things happened behind closed doors that couldn't be unseen. It was always that kind of energy, but throwing Mama Combs into the mix, that just shifted everything. What makes this even messier is that this whole situation has roots that go back further than we realized. You remember when Santana and Young Miami suddenly stopped vibing? No more bestie lives. No more Carisha please. No more TikTok duets. It was like they'd vanished from each other's lives without warning, and nobody could figure out what happened. Well, now, it looks like that might have been tied to this Diddy madness too. Santana allegedly claimed that Young Miami was trying to set him up with Diddy-like romantically, despite knowing that she herself was already seeing the man. Just imagine that dynamic, your best friend trying to hook you up with the same man she's sleeping with. That's messier than any love triangle we've seen on TV. And according to Santana, he wasn't feeling it. He felt uncomfortable, things blew up, and for a while, they fell out, eventually. They patched things up. But next thing we knew, Santana was suddenly by Diddy's side again. People started whispering that something was going on, and then came that now viral Twitter fight between JT and Young Miami, where JT threw massive shade, exposing Santana and Diddy's alleged situation. She said, and I quote, "Leave Santana home this time. That wasn't subtle. That was a direct shot. And while fans were still digesting that drama, Latto clocked it all. She had her own experiences, her own receipts, and now she's pulling them out. And what started as a whisper about Santana being Diddy's plaything turned into a scream about Mama Combs allegedly being the main attraction. Now, y'all tell me, what would make a man like Santana, who's always been bold, loud, and unapologetically himself, suddenly fall all the way back from the entire Combs family without saying a word? Let's talk about what Whack 100 said on DJ Academic's podcast. It wasn't just idle gossip. Whack started hinting at the kind of parties Diddy was hosting, not just freaky parties, allegedly dangerous ones, the kind where towels around the waist aren't a spa moment, but a signal that things are about to get real wild real fast. The kind where what happens here stays here isn't a joke, it's a warning. And he made it clear that Diddy, Santana, and Young Miami were allegedly all part of these exclusive private events. Then Santana, who had stayed quiet for months while all this tea brewed, finally responded when Latto dropped her bomb. But instead of staying calm and collected, he came out swinging. He denied everything, said he never had anything with Diddy, said it was weird and disrespectful to suggest otherwise. He got loud, emotional, and defensive, which, let's be honest, is the clearest sign that the pressure was finally too much. And let's not forget what Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, once claimed, that Mama Combs wasn't just a partygoer. She allegedly ran a whole operation behind the scenes, a madam-type operation involving girls, modeling agencies, and side arrangements that had nothing to do with the runway. When you put that together with Latto's new claims, it stops sounding like a random rumor. It starts sounding like a pattern, and then comes the darkest part. A childhood friend of Diddy's claimed that their home growing up wasn't just a little wild. It was downright disturbing. He said parties went on even when the kids were in the house. Couples in the bedrooms, pimps, dealers, alcohol, chaos. That was normal. That was Saturday night. And he said, this is what we were fed. That's chilling. So now, hearing that Mama Combs was allegedly involved in Santana's sudden disappearance from the Combs circle, it doesn't seem so far-fetched anymore. Especially not when you realize she allegedly introduced Diddy to that world in the first place. Suddenly, everything makes a little more twisted sense now. Some folks are still trying to defend Santana. They say he denied everything, so we should move on. But denial in Hollywood don't mean nothing when the whispers have receipts, especially when Latto, who has been quiet for so long, suddenly chooses **now** to talk. That's strategic, that's a clapback with purpose. And the fact that she didn't just expose Diddy and Santana but dragged Mama Combs into the center of it, that's not just petty. That's personal. And let's be honest, if even half of this is true, Santana distancing himself isn't just about protecting his brand. It might be about protecting his mental health, his peace, and maybe even his safety. Because once the layers start to peel back on what went down in those mansions, nobody wants to be caught in the crossfire. Not when it involves mothers, mobiles, and madness. At the end of the day, this whole situation feels like one of those reality shows where the cameras aren't rolling but the drama is even worse. Because what we're looking at isn't just celebrity beef, it's a tangle of trauma, secrets, and betrayals that have been boiling for years. And now that the lid's blown off, the steam is fogging up everything, so the streets are asking, was Santana just a victim? A partygoer who saw too much? Or was he closer to the fire than he wants to admit? And what's Mama Combs' real role in this? Is she the mastermind, the fixer, or just another player in a dangerous game? One thing's for sure, if this is what's already leaking, imagine what's still locked behind those mansion doors. Because the internet is watching, the fans are talking, and baby, this story ain't done yet. And just when you think the story couldn't possibly get any messier, baby, the timeline starts throwing out even more names, more connections, and more unanswered questions. Because one thing about the internet is it don't forget. And now that Latto has lit the match, folks are digging up everything. Old interviews, social media posts, even old photos from those infamous Combs mansion parties are being reanalyzed. Frame by frame, who was standing next to who was wearing what, who was giving that awkward side eye in the background. Nothing is safe, and everyone is under the microscope. The whispers are louder now. And while Saucy Santana might have thought he could lay low, disappear, and let this blow over, nah, baby, this is the internet in 2025. Receipts are always just a scroll away. There are screenshots being passed around like candy. Private demons supposedly between industry insiders are being leaked. And word on the street is that multiple people who've been around the Combs crew are ready to talk whether it's for clout, coin, or closure we don't know yet. But one thing we do know, the pressure is getting hotter than fish grease now. Fans are looking at Mama Combs in a whole new light. See, before this, she was known as a classy matriarch, always dolled up in designer threads with those pristine white nails that had become her signature. But now, she's being painted as the alleged puppet master behind the scenes, the woman who, if these claims are true, didn't just witness the madness she allegedly helped create it. And honestly, that changes everything. Because if she really was involved in freak-offs, private parties, and allegedly even setting things in motion with Santana, then we're no longer talking about messy family drama. We're talking about something much darker, something that feels orchestrated. And that's a whole new level of disturbing. Let's not ignore the psychological impact either. If Santana really did witness things that pushed him away, if he really got caught up in something that messed with his peace, that explains a lot. His emotional outbursts, his sudden need to rebrand himself, his push to be taken seriously as a rapper, it's all adding up now. Sometimes people don't just fall back for no reason. Sometimes the truth is too heavy to carry, so they run, they stay silent. They try to wipe the slate clean, and if Latto's telling the truth, that's exactly what Santana was trying to do, distance himself not just from Diddy, but from the entire freaky ecosystem that came with him. But now that the cat's out of the bag, can he really stay silent? Can any of them? Let's be real. This is no longer just celebrity tea. This is a scandal of reality TV proportions, with twists so wild they could be a season finale, and the fans are tuned in like it's their favorite soap opera. Comments under every video are filled with shocked emojis, side eyes, and people saying, Ivan knew something was off? Because isn't that always the way? People feel it before it's confirmed. Now it's all coming to light, slowly, silly, but very publicly. Meanwhile, Diddy hasn't said a word, not a statement, not a denial, just silence. And in Hollywood, silence speaks volumes, especially when your name is being tied to everything from federal charges to private freak parties to your own mama, allegedly being involved in something unspeakable. You would think someone would come forward with a lawyer-crafted denial, but no, nothing. And that quiet, it's deafening, it's making people believe the worst, because when the smoke never clears, there's usually fire. And y'all, what's especially heartbreaking is how many careers, friendships, and reputations might get burned in this fire. We're watching in real time as years of industry loyalty unravel. People are unfollowing each other, passive-aggressive. Shade is being thrown on IG stories. Cryptic tweets are popping up. You know the kind, black backgrounds, white letters. I thought you were real type posts. It's the language of betrayal, and it's happening all across the board. Now let's talk about the psychological layers behind all this, because this ain't just about gossip, it's about trauma. If what Diddy's childhood friend said is true, then the whole party culture might have been planted in him from childhood. Growing up in an environment where freakiness, chaos, and blurred boundaries were normalized. That messes with your head. That teaches you that nothing is sacred, that anything goes. And if he carried that mindset into adulthood, into fame, into money and power, then it makes sense how things might have spiraled out of control. And then there's Mama Combs. If the modeling agency rumors are true, if she really was allegedly running more than just runway shows, then Diddy didn't just inherit a legacy. He was raised in it, bred in it. Which means this whole situation might not just be scandal, it might be generational. And if Saucy Santana somehow got caught in the middle of that, baby, no wonder he ran, because when generational secrets start spilling out in the form of leaked party lists, emotional breakdowns, and celeb fallouts, you better believe people are going to panic. But the real twist, the one nobody's talking about yet, is what happens next, now that this story is in the open. What comes of it? Will more people come forward with receipts? Will the industry finally start holding certain figures accountable? Will Mama Combs respond to these allegations? Or will she stay tucked away behind the gates, letting the rumors swirl while the streets burn with speculation?